Welcome to Bridges to Alignment with Britt Bridges, Wellness Reimagined. This is a safe, transformative space where we explore energy healing, natural wellness, and the connection between mind, body, and soul. Through light, sound, and intention, you'll discover practical ways to align your energy, heal from within, and reconnect with your deepest self. This is your bridge to healing. This is your bridge to alignment.
Hello, and welcome to Bridges to Alignment, Wellness Reimagined. I am Britt Bridges, your host. And as usual, I am excited to have you here, thankful to have you here. As you know, your energy is a currency, and I am filled with gratitude that you're giving me that currency today, and just know that it is fully reciprocated. And today we have an exciting episode. We have a special guest. It is a colleague and friend of mine, Saqqara Piper. She is a psychic intuitive, and I like to call her a light language expert. And she's going to be here today to share her expertise and talk about different healing modalities that can transform your life. And to kick off the episode, I love to always say, take what resonates and leave the rest. Remember, we are souls having a human experience. We are scalar waves of light and sound. Everything is a resonance. So if something is resonating with you, beautiful. If something is not resonating with you, beautiful, because that's an opportunity for you to go inward, prayer, or meditation, to learn and discover what your truth really is. So tapping into the heart chakra, taking a deep breath, asking divine, higher power, universe, whoever it is that you tap into, asking, is this my truth? And reveal more to me about this. So thank you. Thank you for opening your mind to receive what we have for you today. And we're going to start with some breathing because, to get into receiving mode, to get into our feminine energy, it's always great to activate the nervous system, prepare it to receive. So find a comfortable seat, kind of wiggle your shoulders around, loosen up a bit, do some shimmies. I can even like to do some body slaps. We've talked about those before, but that helps a lot too. Wherever you have resistance or tension in the body, you could do some body slaps. You can also do some tapping. I don't know if we've talked about tapping before, but why it is so effective as a nervous system regulator is because it mimics the heartbeat of your mother when you were in the womb, which is extremely calming to the nervous system. So wherever you feel tension in the body or resistance, you can just do light tapping like a heartbeat on those places to loosen up that tension in there and get that energy flowing. The goal is always to have energy flowing through the body. Emotions, energy, emotions flowing in and out of the body, not suppressing things, allowing the energy to flow as they come up. Now that you have your comfortable seat, go ahead and close your eyes. And I want you for a moment to go to your inner sanctuary. Talk about this a lot on this show. Inner sanctuary is your exclusive place where nobody else can go. Only you know where this place is, where it is peaceful, calm, still, quiet. Feel in harmony with your body and soul go to that place. It can be in nature. It can be with a special person. Now that you're there, go ahead and place right hand on your heart, left hand on your upper abdomen, solar plexus. You should go ahead and take a deep breath into the belly now. And exhale. Go ahead and take another deep belly inhale for me. And an exhale. One more deep breath into the belly. And exhale with a sigh. Just get it all out of there. All right. How are you feeling? Say hello. Drop in the comments if you're here. Tell us where you're from. Tell us how you found us. Love to hear from you guys. All right. So without further ado, Saqqara Piper is here. So it's an interesting story. I actually met her at a park in our hometown. Randomly, her son was playing with this little puppy and my daughter was playing with this little puppy, and the stars aligned and our eyes met and we were like, hi, how are you? And I was like, what do you do? And she's like, I'm a Reiki master. And she said, what do you do? And I said, I'm a Reiki master. And we were like, soul tribe unite. So it was a very cool experience. I know that you guys have these special connections too. So yeah, I get geeked up when I'm with her because her frequency is beautiful. It is extremely high frequency of light, unconditional love, peace, and harmony. So I thoroughly enjoy her energy. And that's why I thought she would be such a great fit to be a guest on our show today. But Saqqara, she actually had her awakening about 2 years ago, and she, found her inner divinity and her gifts started to awaken. And the gifts and abilities that we talk about here today, just know that you all also have access to these gifts and abilities. That's the really cool thing. So we'll talk more about, tapping into those gifts and abilities. But yeah, so Saqqara is Reiki Master in Usui Holy Fire. Remember, I was telling you there's many different types of Reiki. And she's also a cosmic Akashic Channeler, which I'll have her discuss more about the Akashic Records, and then a psychic intuitive. And welcome in, Saqqara. Hi.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Happy to have you, girl. So tell us more about what you do. I know that I particularly want to hear more about light language because Saqqara has a gift in this. And I want you to tell the audience what you do, what led you to energy healing work, and why it's so important for our planet that we are tapping into these gifts and abilities at this present time.
Sure. That's a lot to unpack. Let's see where we can go with it. So for me, as you mentioned, this journey consciously has only really opened up really in the last 2 years. And as I started kind of exploring it, I felt that I had a strong connection with being able to really tune into other people's energies. Firstly, as kind of an empath, and then kind of building from there as a psychic intuitive. And when I connected in with other people's energies, I could feel where there would be blocks or distortions within their energy chakra pillar. And from there, I was like really drawn to Reiki. And in doing Reiki, one of the things that's been interesting to me is oftentimes then I actually get more of a spirit connection with them as well. So I feel like spirit kind of comes in and often will guide me in terms of feeding me information about the person I'm doing Reiki with. So I may kind of learn little, I wouldn't call myself a medical intuitive, but there's kind of a crossover there a little bit as a healer where you start to just medically know things about the person. Mm-hmm. And then the energy is able to kind of help flow and support whatever they need, whether that be physically in their body, mentally, or even emotionally. So Yeah. So for me, I really was drawn to that ability to kind of help support people through those layers of themselves.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. Yeah. It's interesting that you said that, about having that ability to tap into, medically what is going on in people's bodies. And of course, by no means, I say the disclaimer, we are not medical providers or practitioners. So if you ever feel called to see a medical provider, we strongly encourage that. But definitely Reiki and any energy work is an incredible alternative medicine option, and we highly encourage it. But I will say that you're right, because as I have expanded in my Reiki practice, I have learned more about something called psychic surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so being able to tap into, on an energetic level, the different body parts and seeing where there are those energetic blockages and being able to assist in moving that life force energy through the body, right? Because that's really what we're working with when we talk about Reiki. Reiki is universal life force energy. And we've just so you know what separates, because we all have access to this life force energy, but it's really what separates the Reiki practitioners from just, somebody who's working with their own energy is that it comes down to a preparation of the vessel, right? Really preparing the vessel to raise in consciousness to be able to hold higher frequencies and to bring that higher frequency of light into the body to enhance or expedite the healing of the body. But the cool thing is that everybody can tap into their own life force energy and use it to transform their life and heal their body, mind, and soul. That's really cool.
Yeah. And for me, I'm more of a conscious channel. So I do channeling where I'll get messages from spirit that kind of come through me. And the way that all the energy flows through my body really is it comes through my crown. And then I can kind of feel it come in, goes and filters through to my heart. And then like for Reiki energy, it'll then like radiate down my arms, my hands. When I'm doing more of a vocal channeling or speaking light language, it then rises from the heart out the voice box, which I kind of feel like our throat chakra is another portal, right? It kind of is a portal that connects us to beyond the realm. So that's really how it works for me. And it was interesting because light language first came online when I was working in the Akashic Records.
Okay. Can you explain for those viewers who have never heard that terminology before, what are the Akashic Records in?
Sure. And then probably also what is light language?
And what is light language? Right.
So the Akashic Records is kind of a ethereal library of information that wherein every living entity, being, frequency holds a record. And so this is across all timelines throughout the multiverse, past, present, future. There are just a record of everything that could be and was. And so if you want to know anything more about yourself at soul level, or even if you want to know about like the home you live in or a temple or a church space, you can open up the records and really tune into that and ask those questions and then just kind of quietly listen to the response, know more about it.
Yeah. And do you actually teach Akashic record readings?
I don't at this time.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I just asked because, that's important, right? And if folks are interested in learning that, I share that I learned, there's a book by Brenda Howe. It's Linda Howe, Howe. And it's called, is it Tapping into the Akashic Records or something?
Akashic Records.
It's red and orange, the book cover. But remember that, the last name, or it's Linda Howe. And that's actually how I learned. And just through lots of practice and lots of meditation, I was able to finally have a breakthrough and access that. But I also feel that we should share, to tap into the Akashic Records, you have to have that good intention. That's really important. The lens of divinity, of pureness, of light, of love. So you have to be really careful when you are working with different energy healers and using your intuition, because, you know, there are some energy healers that aren't working from purity and light, and just like any industry, right? There's the light and dark side of every industry. So, you know, just always use your discernment. And how we can use our discernment is put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, tap into your heart, and ask the divine, higher spirit, is this right for me? Another really good way I can offer you to tap into your intuition is you can stand up straight, and you can actually take a deep breath in, relax the body, and you can ask higher power to show you what your yes is. And then you kind of let your body just loosen up enough to where it starts to rock. And the divine will show you your yes. And then you go back to center in your body. And then you ask the divine to show you a no. Your body will start to rock a certain direction, and that's your no. So you can start practicing and playing with that, because that is an amazing way to tap into your intuition. Sorry, that was a little side note.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's awesome. And yeah, teaching isn't something I've started doing, but it's interesting you kind of mentioned that, because I do think that eventually teaching is one of the things I really want to get into. I feel very guided towards that. I read Linda Howe's book. I will say that in my personal opinion, I feel like we as a collective have undergone a massive shift after 2020, that wherein we really, there was an expansion, I think, in terms of our collective ability of what we are capable of tapping into. And so when I read her book, it feels a little outdated at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the old school books.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah. I actually really refined my ability to open up the records and feel comfortable and confident working there through Suzanne Alexandria. And I can give you kind of a link and want for that.
Yeah.
But she has this really intensive 12-week program where she guides and mentors you to trust yourself and to do, as you were saying, with that discernment. It's largely about kind of putting aside your own ego, putting aside that distortion, and being able to be a clear, open channel. And Suzanne was amazing at really being able to help guide through that in a very divine way. So
I love that.
Yeah, she's great.
I love that. Yeah, you've mentioned her on several occasions to me. So thank you for mentioning that here, because it's good to have options. I think you're right with the Linda Howe. It is a bit outdated, but I will say that that book allowed me, it kind of planted the seed. And then it was like a lot of self-discovery. So it took time and practice, whereas it sounds like yours, it was more, you know, I don't want to say the expedited, because it was 12 weeks, you said.
Yeah, it was a 12-week program. But I feel like before I even took the program, perhaps I was a little primed and ready to do it, which, you know, tune into yourself when you feel the calling and it aligns for you, like you know that you're ready. And I'd already read the book. And so I was already kind of interested and was starting to tune into it. Linda Howe teaches the idea of starting with like a pathway prayer to kind of open up the portal to the Akashic Records. And Suzanne then kind of, elaborated upon that and actually guided us to even build our own pathway prayer that was kind of unique to us, that resonates with us, and to kind of connect in that way.
Yeah, because words are so powerful, right?
They are. Yes.
I mean, I say this all the time. Words are spells, guys, whether you like it or not. I mean, they call it spelling for a reason. So yeah, like really speaking your manifestations, speaking your prayers, speaking your intentions out of your mouth. That is going to be a really great tool for you as well. Yeah.
And then from there, you know, when you open up the records, you really call in the lords of the Akashic Records. And I kind of think of them as like your librarians, because the records are so vast and expansive. How do I know what is of the most good for me to hear and know right now? It can be tricky. Yeah. So the lords of the records come forward and they kind of help guide and give that information just as you need it.
See, I'm learning right now as well. You are destined for a, teaching role in this, because I'm taking notes over here.
Well, it's funny because Suzanne early on, as my mentor, was one time she messaged me and she was like, "I see you, teacher," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think that that's where I'm going to be guided towards in the future. Right now, I think I'm still just kind of at that exploration stage, you know, learning myself as well. And I'm just excited to learn alongside other people and kind of support each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I'd known about light language and the idea of being able to tap into this other worldly, if you will, language that really resonates more with our soul. And you think, you're talking about everything being energy, you know, and we're just energy having this physical experience in a physical body. But on other levels, we typically don't have a voice box to speak. So how are we communicating, you know? And so I feel like light language is more reflective of that soul level language that we are more attuned to.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It does. And from what I understand too is light language is something that I am still learning, and I'm so excited. That's why I'm so glad Saqquara is here to tell us about it, because I feel like this is an amazing activation for those that are interested in learning it. But you know, we have so many languages on this planet, and there's obviously a disconnect among a lot of people because of that language. And we know music is a universal language because that's sound. And light language, I feel the same, is a universal language, because I've heard Saqquara speak light language and others, and there is this resonance that goes beyond the physical. I mean, it's just so deep. It hits literally a note in me, you know, just like music does. So,
yeah. And light language doesn't have to be physically spoken. Oftentimes when people first tune into it and start opening up to this, it may be written. I know, for example, if you guys ever hear of Wendy Kennedy, she's a channeler who channels the Pleiadians, and she spoke about it for the longest time. All of her light language came in written form. And it wasn't for years and years until she started doing spoken language, light language.
wow.
If anyone's interested in hearing some really dynamic, activating light language, listen to Wendy Kennedy. She's just amazing.
Kennedy. We'll drop links in the comments.
Yeah.
In the comments would be great. Drop the links in there for all these books and awesome recommendations that we're making.
Yeah. And then there's also, in addition to written, you may have it through movement, through dance. Okay. So, you know, just be open-minded about yourself. You know, you may be doing light language and just not realize that you're doing it, because your engagement of it may actually be in some form of an art. Maybe it's painting, drawing, or physical movement may actually be things that are moving energy, moving frequency in a way that you're doing it with flow and with heart cohesion. That's just, you know, that's more what it really is about.
And that makes sense, because we are light and sound. So it can be expressed in different mediums. I love that. Yeah. And we were talking about this the other day, that when I was younger, my dad would always say, "Oh, you were talking in your sleep last night. Didn't know what you were saying, but you always talk in this one, it sounds like a foreign language." So I often wonder if that is my one form of light language. So it's like I should record myself sleeping and listen to it.
And it's funny you say that, because when you're starting doing light language, that's one of the best things to do is record yourself. Because as you mentioned, I think before the show started, our own voice is our own healing. And so it can actually be sometimes the most activating to hear our own light language back to us and help us to better attune to that. And I'm not a language specialist, but my understanding is if you are learning a foreign language, oftentimes you also try to record yourself speaking the other language to learn that language better, and kind of better refine yourself. So something to keep in mind.
Interesting. Yeah. Like it expands that neural pathway, or it expedites that circuit being created.
Yep, exactly.
Interesting. Love that. Yeah, I know. And we could talk about light language all day long, but I know one advice that she did give when I expressed interest in learning more about it is she said, just let yourself be creative and childlike, and, you know, take your daughter on a walk and put your hand on the trees and listen to their language and communicate with the trees and the plants and the flowers. And because I don't know if you've ever seen those videos where they actually they connect the cords to the trees and the flowers, and they actually have a song, a language, and it's just so beautiful. And so that's what I have been doing is really connecting with nature and listening to them. And it's starting to open.
Yeah. I mean, first, if you really want to kind of start doing light language for yourself, I encourage you to set that intention, kind of ask for it. It's a little bit of a surrendering and a trusting that has to kind of go into place with it. I will also say that some people have some blocks around speaking. You know, it can be something where you may start to do it and then you start to judge yourself. You start to, you know, you then tense back up and you retract and you're like, oh, I don't really want to do that. So there has to also be kind of this sense of trusting and knowing that your voice is powerful, your voice is strong, and there is value in what you're doing. So give yourself that freedom to really tune into your own voice and allow it to come through. And then really tune in with your inner child. I'm sure that we all kind of have a moment in our memory, something where as an inner child, where you just like, you danced without fear of what others were going to say about you. That freedom, non-judgmental wonder that you had as a child. That's kind of the frequency you want to tune into, that joy, that bliss. And I feel like it happens like when you're like 4 or 5, you know, where you're just, you're doing your thing. No one else can like say anything that's going to like bother you because you're just in your zone.
Right.
That's kind of that inner child that you want to connect into.
Yes.
And that's when then you go out into nature. That kind of is a way that you can then interact from a point of that inner child. With the bees, with the butterflies, with other animals. It's great to like do this with your pets, and kind of that notion of connecting to them, but from that playful, joyful standpoint.
You know,
that's where you want to be.
That just made me think of, there's probably a lot of pet owners that are already speaking light language with their pets. Because you know how they have that cutesy little talk with their animals, like, oh, gee, booby, whatever, you know?
Yep, that's it. Yes. Allow yourself to be silly. Allow yourself to be weird.
Yeah.
Make the weird noises and do the thing that makes you happy. I mean, that's why I have blue and purple hair. It's my inner child. She loves it.
I love it. I love that so much. Yeah, I call that moment where you're like running through the wildflowers in a field and as a kid, and you're not thinking about allergies or like, you know, getting your dress dirty. You're just like, like go to that place, right?
Yep. Where you're uninhibited. You're just kind of allowing yourself to be.
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, Saqquara mentioned the throat chakra, and this is a great exercise in balancing the throat chakra. And that's what we do at Willow Well, is we focus a lot on balancing the chakras, educating about chakras, how to balance them. The chakras are our energy centers within the body. Essentially, they're portals, as you mentioned earlier. And the throat most often is blocked or imbalanced due to not speaking your truth, or expressing your authentic self, or expressing that inner child. And so I will offer you now, if you are interested in unblocking your throat chakra or balancing it, or exploring light language and you need to work on your throat chakra, is you can actually hum, H-U-M, hum, and you want to feel it actually vibrating in your throat chakra, because that sound is going to create an energy vortex to get any stuck or stagnant or overactive energy pushed out of there and flowing with ease. And then you can add the hand mudra. If you put all your fingers together like this, take your index finger and your thumb, put it together so it looks like that. Yeah, and then put it in front of your throat, and then it amplifies the power of hum. Hum. That's my recommendation for balancing the throat chakra if you need a quick little technique. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to take a moment and we're going to hear from our local sponsors. Right back.
Sponsored by Dublin Roasters is the Frederick Coffee House, fueled by love and positivity. Visit Dublin Roasters at 1780 North Market Street or at DublinRoastersCoffee.com, where you can order online and have coffee shipped right to your door. You can sign up for a monthly membership as well, open for curbside and deliveries 7 days a week. Think you've seen it all? Danny Gurry keeps finding Frederick's hidden gems. Family spots, mom and pops, and can't miss bites. Good Morning Frederick. Make sure to watch live at 9 a.m. every weekday on Facebook and YouTube.
Frederick, don't miss the Spring Bloom Art and Garden Pop-Up, Friday, May 1st at Give Rise Studio. Shop local art, handmade goods, and garden-inspired creations. Free to attend. Register now on Eventbrite.
All right, welcome back. Happy to have you guys back here. And I wanted to now, before we move on from light language, because we've been talking about it, and I think now is a good time if you guys are interested. Those of you that are watching, if you're interested in participating in a activity to explore more about light language, should we do that now?
Sure.
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
And I'll actually kind of share too that once I activated my light language for me, it came online with doing the Akashic Records because I found that it almost was like the card catalog for me within the library. So when I would tune into another person to start channeling information for them at soul level, I would start hearing light language, which actually, when I then spoke it was like it just zoomed me right into the particular book within the library I needed for them, if you will, like a card catalog system.
Wow.
But once I'd opened it and I wanted to try to get more confidence with it, I took a course through JJ Brighton.
Okay.
And so she's another one that does a lot of great, she has activations with JJ on YouTube.
Love JJ.
She's great.
She's
so
amazing.
And I actually,
if you're seeing this, JJ, we love you. Keep going.
Yeah, she's amazing. And so, I mean, she's another great resource to learn about light language. And in taking the course with her, one of the things too that she really kind of highlighted was the notion of just like almost like a voice coach. Allow your voice to flow. And so you want to at times perhaps expand upon your voice, much like you would do as like a warm up in choir.
Okay.
So playing with volume, playing with your register, playing with the speed that you're kind of saying things. So if you want to like repeat after me,
okay,
you can just kind of even just start with some of this. So one of the things we can do is like the vowels. So like A, I, O, U. A, I, O, U. A, I, O, U. And then you may even want to just do each one because you may find that one of them resonates more with you than another. So different people may like and enjoy, a particular sound more. I always kind of like the om. So you can just.
So I have a question on that note. Is the different, I guess, dialects of light language? First question is, have you ever met anybody that has the same light language? And would you say that it's influenced by all of our previous lives?
So I think when you tune in specifically to like your soul's light language, I think it is a merging, if you will, of all of the lifetimes you've kind of lived.
Okay. That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
That's what intuitively I'm being shown.
Yeah. So I don't know that I've necessarily met somebody who's like their light language was identical to mine, but I definitely feel like there are some where when you kind of tune into it, you can feel, oh, that feels Egyptian, or that feels Lemurian, or that feels very galactic. You kind of sense it. And so when you as an individual have a certain resonance with those specific things, and you hear someone speak a light language that also has that same resonance, it'll be more activating to you.
Okay.
You're like, it's like at soul level, you're like, oh yeah, I feel that.
That's what I felt with you. When I heard you speak your light language, it was an immediate remembrance. Sorry, back to our exercise. I just, if I don't ask the questions, they'll bloop.
Yeah, no worries. But I mean, that's kind of one of the first steps with it, is just kind of starting with those little syllables.
Okay.
And then allow yourself to kind of play with it. So remember, kind of pulling back to that inner child. Maybe you could close your eyes and imagine that part of your life. For me, it was when I used to wear these like really fluffy dresses with bells on them and run around, like, you know, just whatever it was that was like your little inner child. And then just kind of allow yourself to tune into that frequency of play and joy. And you can start even just with like a simple sound. Like, allow yourself to make funny sounds. What funny sounds come to your mind? Exactly. Like, and then just play with it. Don't, at the beginning, you're not even trying to understand what you're saying. Because I feel like those take two different types of functionalities. You know, the light language kind of comes in, I think of it as like my right side of my brain. So it's the creative side, it's the free flowing divine side that's not really thinking or processing it. When you then want to try to interpret the light language, you kind of have to then lean into more of your structured left brain.
Yeah, so that's that masculine, feminine.
Yeah, yeah. And I kind of think about, have you ever like seen those images where you zoom in and you're like, oh, do you see the circles? And then like you refocus your eyes and you can see the squares, but you didn't see the squares until someone showed you where the squares were. It's kind of like that with light language. So one side, you may be just seeing the circles. And then to be able to interpret it, you kind of have to reframe yourself and then zoom back out and see the squares. And so when I do it in a way that I'm trying to actually interpret it, I kind of have to be in a place where I can see the circles and the squares simultaneously.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does.
Okay, because it's different parts of your brain.
Yeah. That like doing it and then transcribing it, essentially.
Yeah. So in the beginning, if you're just starting with this, just enjoy the energy, just enjoy the flow of it, and allow yourself to just sit with that and allowing it just kind of come in through that right side of your brain, channel it through. But yeah, it's just about having fun with it. And then the other piece just to kind of note is I feel like there is light language, which is more of like a conversation. So like if we were to talk back and forth, we could just develop, like, let's just think of like a simple syllable, like ma, 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 ma. We could have a language back, a conversation. So if we want to just experiment with this, I'll just say something and then you say something back to me like a conversation. Okay. Ma, 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 ta, ta, ma, 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 na, na, ta, ma, na, ma, 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 ma.
Damasi mama mani na mama.
Mama da da mama ne mama 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 ne mama mama mama.
Me mama mama see me mama mama.
So that's light language kind of conversationally. This is at the very basic level.
On a like physiological level, you know, like I could feel the frequency shift, you know. It's interesting. It's almost like a radio channel, like changing the channel a little bit. It's like yeah. So I mean, I would just encourage, like, if you want to open up to it, to just allow yourself to have fun with it. Like, I'm not doing anything right now where I'm like trying to channel a specific language or trying to channel a message. We're just having fun. We're just playing with it. We're playing with sound. We're playing with our voice. We're playing with what we can do with our voice, and allow yourself to kind of go up and down and you know, and just have fun. Don't try to criticize it or judge it. It just is. I love this.
And then there's also light codes.
Okay.
And light codes to me are really powerful because these are things that are often come in more of a repetitive pattern.
Okay.
And that is what comes through for me more when I do Reiki. So sometimes I'll be doing Reiki with someone and all of a sudden I'll just be like, or like, and I'll feel this need to just kind of, okay, we got to flush this out. We got to flow this. And then oftentimes also with it, my hands will be moving. And that's also kind of light language, just the moving of the hands and different things.
And when you say the codes, are you hearing it as a sound, or is it?
It kind of comes through my mind's eye the same way that like messages come through from spirit. I just kind of hear it. And then what I'll do is I'll just say, okay, I'm going to allow that to come through my channel. And I just kind of put my thinking mind aside and just allow it to throw through.
Like express itself how it needs to express. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that that's an important to note, is that no two Reiki treatments are alike and everything is truly customized to your needs intuitively. So, I mean, there's some things, you know, there's the symbols and the things that, you know, are standard that you can do, but 99.9% of Reiki is truly just intuitively guided based on the frequency of the client and what the client needs in that moment energetically.
Yeah. And funnily about Reiki is I feel like it flows the same way that light codes do, in how Reiki will go to wherever in your body that it needs to kind of heal and stabilize and alchemize. Light codes do the same sort of thing. It's almost like their own sentient source that just moves and does what it needs to do within your body. So light codes can be really powerful for integration, transmission, or transmutation of energy and alchemizing things. It's really powerful.
Yeah. And I talk about light codes all the time, if you know, for those of the viewers that follow all my channels, because the light codes come from our sun. You know, you can literally go out and just open up to the sun and set the intentions to receive the light codes from the sun, because that is literally, the codes are information for your DNA to upgrade in consciousness, to upgrade in awareness.
I actually said this water was, for example, sat in my windowsill, and I set the intention for it to help absorb the light codes, because that's one of the ways that we can also kind of get it is through water. And so, yeah.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the cosmic side of things, the galactic side of things, because I know that you specialize in tapping into your galactic guides. And do you maybe explain a little bit more for those of the viewers who don't know what that means, or you know, that are interested more in, you know, this beyond our planet connection? We would love to hear more about that.
Sure. And maybe kind of the way I'll say it is, you know, I feel like we're all comprised of these like blueprints, if you will, that are the frameworks of who we are at soul level. And we have different blueprints that we hold based off of different lives that we've lived. And so for me, whenever I tune into a person, I can often just feel what they're mostly demonstrating at this point in this current consciousness. And that, because we're all multidimensional, right? We're all of these things. But when I tune into a person, I can kind of feel if they're more angelic, more elemental, having a strong connection to the earth, to the fairies, the gnomes, the dragons, or they may be more galactic, which is what you're alluding to. And so someone who's more galactic, I see as being somebody who has lived way more lifetimes on other planets across the multiverse than what they have lived necessarily on Earth. And so oftentimes people even may use the term like star seeds, which are, I think, I feel like there's different interpretations of what a star seed is. But to me, you know, the general gist is I think most of us, if not all of us, have really lived lives on other planets in other lifetimes. But there are some people whose connection to that galactic lifetime may be stronger at this time. And those individuals tend to feel a much stronger connection to like the stars. They enjoy sitting at night, looking up at the stars. And there's a sense of feeling at home when they do that. Like I remember as a child doing that. I grew up in an area that was kind of rural, and we could sit and look at the stars. And that was my favorite place to be. I loved to just sit and stare at the stars. And that's where I felt so much peace and at home there.
Yeah.
So if I'm saying that and you're like, yes, that's definitely true, you probably have a really strong galactic orientation. For people who are more elemental, they get that same sense of feeling at peace when they're in nature. and they tend to also have a really strong connection to animals. The people who I know who are very elemental have like 3 cats, 2 dogs, you know, like they're just...
Or they have allergies and don't, but they just go and like enjoy everybody else's pets like me.
Yeah. And those who are angelic tend to feel very devoted to humanity. They tend to see the good in everyone. So even somebody who would have done something that was very wrong to them, they're very forgiving, they're very loving, and it's very human centered. So those are kind of like the 3 differences. But with regards to galactic, since you asked about that specifically, there's a plethora of different species. But I do think there's a handful of ones that are more likely to reincarnate here on Earth that we tend to have more of a connection to. But that's not to say that you're one of those per se. There's a lot out there.
Yeah, there are. And actually there is a previous episode that aired a couple weeks back. You'll have to check it out. It's called A Galactic Awakening, where John, my buddy John, he deep dives into all that, and his book explores a lot of the different types of starseeds. And yeah, so we could talk all day long about that subject. But in terms of when you say that there's these different types of previous lives or the origins that we could come from, the angelic, the elemental, and the galactic. Now, is this across, you could have many of these, correct? Not just, you just came from this one place, because we are multidimensional, because we do reincarnate over and over and have constant death and rebirths over and over again.
Yes. And I mean, I more and more that I tune into this, the more that I feel like it isn't as linear and straightforward as we want it to be.
Yeah.
So, you know, in our physical body, it's easy for us to have attachments to this notion of like, well, there's one body, there's one soul, one mind. But I actually feel like it's much more dynamic and multidimensional than that. So, you know, I've worked in the records a bit and been able to see a few different lifetimes I lived in human form, but also in galactic form, and also in, you know, as a fairy and as a dragon. So we're all of them. We're all of these things. And I think we all are simultaneously, you know, and it's just a matter of where is your frequency right now? Where's your consciousness right now?
Yes.
And so we've kind of chosen to take this physical body as our current consciousness, but that doesn't mean that we can't go into meditation and go inward and tap into those other aspects of ourselves.
And if somebody's interested in exploring those different aspects of themselves, and I mean, yes, tapping into the Akashic Records, but do you have any, you know, pointers that you would give your clients to exploring these different origins that each of us can have, whether that's a meditation technique or...
So the biggest thing I would say is just to trust yourself, trust your own intuition, and to go inward. I think that, you know, the long time ago was always this idea of you wanted to find a mentor to follow, somebody to get behind. And anymore, I think that's not really the best pathway for us. We all, like you said at the beginning, have these spiritual abilities. So there's no reason why you need to get behind someone else to teach you and guide you. And I would even say that, you know, since we're all dynamic, it may be that one teacher helps you with one thing, another teacher can help you with something else, and you're constantly going to have to be shifting. So really tuning into yourself, into your own body, into your own intuition of what is you at soul level. And I think that that's probably the greatest thing to do. So through meditation, going into kind of the void of yourself and really setting that intention to connect to that part of yourself.
I love that. And to piggyback off that, I say all the time that the greatest teachers always lead you back to yourself. It's really great to have mentors. It's really great to have teachers to kind of help you with the foundation, or not even really the foundation, but just give you their story. That's their story, right? And a good mentor will just provide you with guidance on how you can tap into your own intuition, tap into your own inner divinity, and understand how powerful you are and that you possess personal sovereignty and personal power and abilities that would just absolutely blow your mind. So,
but I think in order to really be able to sense those things external to yourself, you have to be able to know what is you first. So even like being a psychic intuitive, I'm going to want to first know, well, what energy am I carrying? Where do I have density in my chakra pillar? Where do I have blocks and challenges? And then once I can feel what is me, then I can tune into somebody else. I can tune into even another being, like a tree. And then I'll know, well, wait, that's not me, because this is what was me beforehand. And now I'm also feeling this extra layer. That's not me. That's coming from this other being. And so that's kind of a great place to start, is really knowing yourself.
Yeah, I love that. And that's strengthening your intuition at its finest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to learn more about how to strengthen your intuition, both of us, we offer that along with our Reiki services, because as a Reiki master, a lot of what we do really is a teacher role also. Yes, we're helping you to clear energetic blockages and imbalances in your system. And we're helping you work through emotional, what is the word? Emotional, I don't say traumas, but yeah, just working through things that you need to work through. But we're also there to teach you or help you to tap into your own intuition.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think this covers the gamut, and this was beautiful and exciting. And I really hope that everyone at home got something from this, because I know I did. And did you want to say any last words?
Well, I'll just say that if anything I said kind of resonated with you, or if you'd want to connect further, on my website, I have just an option. I cannot even speak. I have an invitation for people just to connect with me for free, because I honestly, that's the thing that brings me the most joy, is just being able to talk to people, connect with people. And I think that we're all walking this path together. And so us being able to support each other is just the greatest thing we can do.
Yeah, we'll drop that in the description. Is this the meetup?
I also do a meetup group, but they're really off my website. You can just schedule a time for like a one-on-one conversation.
Awesome. Yeah. Same. Yeah, I do the same thing. And to have those consultations and one-on-ones are really great, because it's important that this message gets out. This is a mission. This is mission work. That's how I see it.
I like to see it as an invitation.
Yeah.
Whenever at the beginning I kept feeling like, I have this purpose, I need to do this thing, and I'm supposed to do this, and it's too much pressure. So I just say there's an invitation for me to present in this way and to co-create this with you. So
I love that. Yeah, very nice. Well, thank you, Saqquara.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome to have you, and awesome to have you as well, beautiful viewers. And if you liked this content, drop it in the comments. Whatever you learned today, however you feel, we love all the feedback. So we know that we're, delivering content that you're looking for. And as usual, make sure you're meditating. Make sure you're doing your breath work. Of course, your energy hygiene. If you're wondering what all these things are that I'm mentioning, you can look back on previous episodes of Bridges to Alignment and learn all those techniques that can help you along your journey here, your wellness journey. And I wish you a beautiful farewell, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Take care.
Thanks for joining Britt Bridges on Bridges to Alignment. If this message spoke to you, be sure to like and subscribe for more conversations on energy healing, natural wellness, and living in alignment with your highest self. Bridges to Alignment is proudly part of the Everything Frederick Live podcast network and can be rewatched anytime on the Everything Frederick Live YouTube channel. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep aligning with the life you are meant to live.
This episode is a proud production of the Everything Frederick Live podcast network. Your home for Frederick's best podcasts, streaming daily on YouTube.